So I am Winnifred Wolfe, but you can also call me Freddie. I've been doing environmental outreach. Environmental. I've been doing educational outreach with little kids for a couple of years now, since I was 5, and now I'm 12. So I've been doing it for a little while, and I've really wanted to start doing outreach with adult audiences, and so I'm going to talk more about that. And if you want to check out my website and Facebook, they're underneath my name on this slide. So maybe I'll go back to that when I'm done. So like I said, I've been doing educational outreach with my spiders since I was 5, but a lot of it has been for the K-12 audience, and I've kind of wanted to expand my audience. So if you don't know yet, because I know I've told some people, but I've been to the Invertebrates and Education and Conservation Conference, and I did a study on adults with arachnophobia. So that kind of inspired me to start doing outreach for adults. And I was like, well, adults are going to want to know more stuff about the environmental impact of spiders, because kids just need to know, like, spiders are our friends, they don't want to hurt us, but adults sometimes need a little more convincing, since if they do have arachnophobia, it's been going on for a couple of years now. So the picture to the left is me in 2016 with the classroom kind of presenting, and this is kind of what all of my settings have been. But I just kind of want to expand and kind of leave the classroom for a little while, just so that I can maybe present in other ways, like online or maybe in like public spaces, especially for adults, since I've only been educating kids for a couple of years. And then picture to the right, I wanted it to include because somebody's mom put up a little Christmas tree on their chandelier for a spider that they found on the ceiling. And I thought this was a great example of an adult who isn't afraid of spiders and knows that they're helpful. So during the pandemic, I think I did maybe like 3 sessions of educational outreach, and most of it was just me showing my spider to my class. But it wasn't really like what I had done before. I wasn't really able to have them hold the spider or maybe pet the spider, or even my roach, because sometimes I'll bring him in. So it wasn't really the same experience, and it made me really sad, and I just wanted to kind of work on my outreach this year. Because of the pandemic, I haven't really been able to do it. I thought it'd be a good idea to come up with more curriculum instead of just trying to slop something together and put it online. So I kind of want to strengthen my outreach, and I am really excited to go back into the classroom or wherever I present once time comes. So I'm going to talk about some of my previous research for the Invertebrates in Education and Conservation Conference. So on adults with arachnophobia. I had adults from I think age 18 to around 30 or 40. I had adults fill out the survey if they had arachnophobia, and it had some questions, and I kind of put graphs together to kind of show the responses and how many people responded a certain way. And I found that a lot of people didn't know why they were afraid of spiders. That was really weird. As you can see here, you can see a spider and get scared, you can hold it and get scared, or maybe you've watched a really scary movie with spiders in it. And those all make sense, but the majority of people that took my survey said that they had no idea why they were afraid of spiders. And I think that I can help them at least get to know spiders a bit better if they don't have reasoning behind it, because it's a little hard to get over a fear where you have background of being afraid of something. Whereas with this, you're just kind of afraid of it. You don't really know why. So I'm kind of using that to my advantage. And I obviously am not going to be able to completely get rid of that fear. I mean, maybe, But I just want to educate people, I'm not trying to force them to overstep their boundaries or hold spiders or anything. I just want them to understand what they do. For the So another part of my study was that I asked people if they had heard of a spider bite, or they thought they got bit by a spider, or their friend's friend told them that they got bit or something. And a lot of people said no. And this wasn't very surprising, as spiders don't usually bite people, but I also had to put in the factor that the people who did say yes may have been referring to maybe a mosquito bite or a rash or something else that was mistaken for a spider. Because obviously, if you have like a red mark on your arm and you don't know anything about spiders, and you find a spider in your room maybe, you'd probably put two and two together and be like, oh yeah, I got bit by a spider. But what I find is a lot of the time people describe symptoms and it's like, oh, it's a bug bite, or oh, you have a rash. It's never really a spider bite. And the only times it is when they can tell what the species was and what they did afterward. But if they can't do that, then, they're they don't really know what happened. And then another part of research is what people do when they see a spider. And sadly, the majority said kill it, which broke my heart. And I know a lot of people, when they see a spider, will just take a book or something and just kill it without thinking, like, oh, maybe I shouldn't be doing this. Pretty strong majorities and leave it alone or put it outside or run away. So I was kind of happy with that, but a lot of the time it's just because they're afraid of it that they run away or they just leave it alone. So that's not good either. But I was just really sad that a bunch of people said they would kill any spider that they see in their house, even though that spider may just be like a wolf spider or a jumping spider or something that is not going to hurt you, like, at all.
Freddie, I'm not quite sure how, but you were muted. There you go. Can we hear her now?
Can you hear me?
There you are. I don't know how you got muted, but we got you back now.
Oh my gosh. I thought I was unmuted. You want me to start over?
No. It was only for a few seconds.
Oh, okay. So anyway, a lot of people said kill it, and so I want to include in my outreach what to do when you see a spider. Also, the differences between spiders that can be harmful and spiders that aren't going to be harmful at all. Like the difference between a black widow and a jumping spider. I definitely want to inform them about the different species and what to do in those situations when you find one, maybe in your house or in kind of like a public area. Because obviously if you find one in wildlife or maybe like in a park, then you just leave it alone because it belongs to the world. But important things adults should know. Most spiders don't harm humans. A lot of spiders, like I was saying, have like 100% chance that they're not going to harm you, either because they're super tiny or they would never necessarily use their fangs to on an animal that's bigger than them, or you're not really bothering it, so it's obviously not going to bite you. So a lot of spiders don't have any intentions of harming humans. In fact, the only case where they will bite you is if you are threatening them. And sometimes there's even spiders that flick hairs off their abdomens, the tarantulas. So they won't even bite as a first offense. Spiders help agriculture and they help our environment in general. They eat insects that kill our crops and eat our crops. And they also just help our environment. We have less invasive insects, and they're kind of just helping our environment and doing what they can to support it. And then spiders eat insects that give us disease. Now, I'm not very knowledgeable about insects that do give us disease, but I know a good example is that mosquitoes, not only do they give malaria to people, but they also give a bunch of other viruses and diseases. So there's a number of them, definitely. And spiders can eat insects that give us disease, and that's really helpful when you think about it. And I want to include this in my outreach because I think adults will be happy if they learn that spiders are like actually helping us. Because if you say that a spider just like eats insects that get trapped in your house or they get invasive in your house, then you're gonna be like, oh yeah, those are annoying. But if I include this part of my outreach, I feel a lot of people will feel connected to spiders. Maybe if they're a first responder or if they know somebody who has like a certain disease. Or even if they aren't connected in that way and they just don't want to get diseases, you know? It's important to get them connected in that sense. Humans are harming spiders. So this is kind of like a thing I wanted to add because I think my outreach should inspire people to help their environment because obviously, you know, climate change is going on and we're killing our earth. So obviously this doesn't just harm spiders, but I feel that if they learn that spiders are helping us and providing all these resources to our environment and we're in return, we are ruining our planet, it's going to get us to think a little bit about how we treat our planet and how we treat our environment. So spiders' impact versus ours. So I did this slide because, like I was saying, I want people to kind of think.
We lost your sound, I think. Can others hear her?
No, but she's not muted.
No, not sure why.
Freddie, can you hear us?
Freddie, can you hear us?
A few years ago says that there was an estimate of 400 to 800 million insects that are eaten by the whole population a year. And obviously, because of this, we have less annoying insects, maybe making us sick or being invasive. And we have an impact where we're harming habitats and we're causing global warming, which causes fire. And we're also using pesticides, which I don't know outside of the arachnological field know that pesticides do harm spiders. And obviously other life are affected by these things too. No. When you're harming our planet, you're harming every piece of wildlife that's in it, and spiders are included in that. And I think if people they're kind of like, oh wait, I really like squirrels or I like birds or something, then they're going to be like, oh well, I'm harming spiders too when I'm harming our planet. I put together this spiders diet slide because in my outreach, I want people to get connected to the insects that spiders eat because then they're going to feel more connected to the spider and they're going to not want to harm it, or they're going to just maybe become less afraid or more familiar with the spiders in our world. So they eat flies. A lot of people talk about how spiders eat flies, but I feed mine crickets, and so it's kind of funny. Like they're like, "Oh, you feed them flies?" I'm like, "No, I'm not going to feed them flies." But they do eat flies. Sometimes smaller ones will eat flies. I've had to feed my baby tarantulas or my slings fruit flies. So they do eat flies that get invasive, and they're just gross, and we don't like them. Now, obviously, not all cockroaches are icky and invasive. I actually have a Madagascar hissing cockroach. He's the last of his colony, and he is super nice. And you know, he wouldn't become invasive in somebody's home unless they they let them loose and then they made it or something. Or you live in a gas
Got about 30 seconds, Freddie, about 30 seconds.
Got it. So they also eat mosquitoes, fleas, and ants. And I know they don't usually eat ants, but those are some other examples. So I'm going to kind of rush here. But a few species like the black widow, brown recluse, funnel web, old world tarantulas, you want to leave them alone and inform children so they know not to go in their area. Then with other spiders like peacock spiders or jumping spiders, new world tarantulas, you want to leave them be, or maybe if they're in your shower or somewhere you don't want them to be, or they're just in a bad area, you can either scoop them up if you feel comfortable with your hands, or you can use the cup and paper method. So I put this one together because I want to show the comparison. So on the left is spiders that could be harmful, and on the right are spiders that aren't going to be harmful. And then after outreach part, method or this phone, next generation not to be afraid of spiders and not spreading fear, and just teaching them all about what spiders do. And then knowing a spider from from one that might be harmful to one that's not going to be harmful, like I was saying earlier. As I was saying at the beginning, I want to do outreach with adults. I want to talk about their benefits, what they do for the environment, and to pass it on to future generations. And I'm really excited for this outreach.
Freddie, we're going to have to move on, but that was just fantastic. I mean, you have so many amazing comments in the chat. We're not going to be able to get to the questions here, but I hope you scroll through them and respond or look at everything everyone said. Just fabulous work. Thank you so much.